What's up? This is Kazi from Clever Programmer. College degree versus a coding bootcamp versus being self-taught. Which one is right for you? In this video, that's what we're going to talk about. But before we start, please do me a favor. Smash that like button. Do that right now. Subscribe to the goddamn channel if you haven't already. And let's get right into the video. What's up, guys? This is Kazi from Clever Programmer. And what I want to talk about today with you is what is the right path for you, because you have so many choices that I couldn't even list them all out. You have coding boot camps, you have a college degree, you have the route of being a self-taught developer, and not to mention you have unlimited YouTube resources, you have Coursera, edX, Team Treehouse, the list goes on, right? And there's so much that's out there. But everybody has a specific situation, a specific need. And so let's address those and go down the list. Okay. So first up, let's take being a self-taught developer. Let's start there. Okay. Boom. Self-taught developer. That was, I would say that I was mostly a self-taught developer myself. That's a path that's really close to my heart. That's a path that I took. Now for me, to get up to speed, it did take a long time for me to really become well-versed in programming. But a lot of it I picked up on my own. How did I pick up most of these skills? I took tutorials online from YouTube. I watched videos and blog posts online. I went to Coursera. I went to Udacity, edX, and many other platforms. I remember doing the CS50 course. That was freaking hard, but also a lot of fun. And I also remember I went through this book called Little Schemer. Okay, fantastic book, by the way. If you want to improve your problem-solving skills, get this fucking book. It is so good. It's called Little Schemers, and it changes the game for you when it comes to learning recursion, because recursion is such a difficult concept to understand and master. And I would use this book to just keep going down the list of recursion, keep doing practices. I remember the CDR, which is CDR, and it's a very primitive language, right? So there's not much you can do. There's no for loops. You can't append stuff. Everything has to be done through recursion, whether you're adding or subtracting, whether you're dividing, whatever it is you're doing, everything is done through recursion. And it gets you so practiced in that concept and so good that then you can actually do things like whether you're trying to solve a maze, you're trying to solve some type of recursive problem, you get very good at thinking like that. So fantastic book, but kind of besides the point. But yeah, I mastered tons of things all by myself. So that's the self-taught route. I would spend 10 to 15 hours a day coding all by myself. The great things about self-taught is I didn't have to spend a lot of money. I got to just practice and kind of learn on my own. Another great thing about being self-taught is, I do feel like I got a lot of confidence from it because I, taught myself all of these skills. I basically taught myself how to become a developer. Now, the downside of being self-taught is this. I could have gotten my job as a developer a lot faster. My skills could have been way stronger because I remember when I started being able to afford real developers, I would go on platforms like Code Mentor and pay them $70 an hour to train me. They were fucking good. And they would just bitch slap me, no, you're doing this wrong. Fix this, fix this. No, you shouldn't do a commit of every single file all the time. That's stupid. Commit one thing at a time. Okay, so I would always do git, commit, and do dots. So I would do commit all. I would never do that. Commit each file with a specific message with that. And I was like, oh, that's so smart. And little practical things. Or when I was learning Python and Django, and the way one of my instructors, her name was Jessamine, the way she would tell me I should name my models. And every time I was actually adding when to actually migrate my data versus something else. And I remember learning each of these lessons, and they were so technical and so precise. And I became so fucking good and clean as a developer. And I would test everything so rigorously. And I was learning so many professional software developer skills from her. Had I been able to afford her earlier, 1,000,000% that would be the way to go. It's kind of like if you wanted to learn basketball, Michael Jordan was your coach and was coming in to train you 2, 4, 5, 8 hours a day. You just become so damn good. There's no fucking way you could get that good all by yourself. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen, right? You get that training and then you become so good. It's like Tyson just becoming good by himself in a room, right? He could have probably become good, but not great. And that's kind of what happened when he had a coach. So that was one of the things I always wished I had, and I didn't. Even when I was doing chess and I became pro at chess in my high school at Niles North, I became so good at chess, but I always wish I had a really great coach, but I could just never afford one. That was the biggest problem. So self-taught, those are my thoughts on self-taught. I think it's a great way to go, but I think if I could have invested, that's what I would have personally done. Okay. Next up, we have a college degree. So here are my thoughts on the college degree. I think college degree is fucking trash when it comes to becoming a full-on developer, okay? And let me explain why. It is so grounded in theory. It is so deeply grounded in theory. It just never plays out to actual practicality of becoming a developer. Now, with all due respect, it matters what you're doing. Now, if you want to become a data scientist, and you need to know all the computer science theory, and you need to have all of that other stuff handled, yeah, maybe it makes sense. If you really need a deeply theoretical background, yeah, it might make sense. Outside of that, investing 4 years and putting in $60,000 or $40,000 to $60,000 in those years and having to go to a chemistry fucking class, how the fuck is chemistry going to help you with coding? Like, help me explain that. That never made sense to me. They said it would make sense at some point, but it never made sense. How is public speaking, and help me? How did investment class help me with coding? How did my history class help me with coding? To this day, I never understood. Maybe one day when I become smart enough, I'll fucking understand. But until that day, it doesn't make sense to me. And when things don't make sense to me, I make a fucking decision and I just stop. That's why I just stopped going to college. So, you know, there's a limit to it. And another thing that I really dislike about college is that a lot of the material is outdated. You're not going to be learning React.js in college. You're going to be learning PHP and WordPress, which was like popular 20 years ago. And now React.js is what's popular, wait 20 years, and then maybe they'll start teaching it. So they're so far behind the actual practicality of what is going on in the job market versus what's going on in the professor's head, who's been teaching there for 30 years, and his only thing to worry about is whether he's going to get tenure or not. It doesn't make sense to me. So for becoming a developer, it doesn't make too much sense to me, okay? So between a college and self-taught, I would recommend going self-taught and just like picking up these skills, okay? Number 3, you have a coding bootcamp, all right? Now, let's talk about a coding bootcamp and the benefits of it and the cons of it, okay? So unlike a college degree, a coding bootcamp is between 6 to 12 months. It depends, right? Some of them are 3 months. Like you have Hack Reactor and General Assembly and whatever else is out there, right? Lehwagon, and a bunch of other ones, right? They are between 3 months to 12 months. Some of them are full-time, some of them are part-time. Most of them, however, require you to quit your job so you can focus on it and, you know, really change your career. Most of the coding bootcamp students are people who are looking to change their career. So I think that's the first important thing to understand about who a coding bootcamp is generally for. Another thing about a coding bootcamp that I wanted to go to a coding bootcamp way more than I ever wanted to go to a college, because for me, I want to learn in an extremely immersive way. When I was learning jiu-jitsu and lifting, powerlifting and kickboxing, I did it for 5 to 7 hours a day, and then I just became really good at it. When I did chess, I just did it for 7 to 10 hours a day 4 hours would be spent at the chess club every single day from 3 p.m. to 7 or 8 p.m. every single day, except for Saturdays and maybe Sundays. So whenever I look at all the things I got good at, whether it was ping pong or chess or bowling, whatever it is, right? Business, it was a lot of time in immersion. Not, I'm going to do some chemistry and then I'm going to do PE. How the fuck does that make sense to anybody? Like, somebody please explain to me in chat. Maybe you're smarter than me and you can fucking explain it, because I was never able to explain it. So what was I talking about? Coding. So coding boot camps, right? Let's go back to just talking about coding boot camps. So immersion is the thing that I loved about the idea about coding boot camps. I remember I wanted to go to, I think one of them was Hack React. One of them was Galvanize or something like that. I really wanted to go to it because I just love the idea of immersion. I love the idea of like learning just intensively in a couple of months' time. And I love the idea of you kind of come out and you're looking for a job or you're getting a job. It is like this very defined goal. So for me, that was something I wanted to do. But just like I couldn't afford to get a chess coach, I couldn't justify or afford, spending $15,000 or $25,000 at the time. But if I was one of you who has the money, who is currently going to a job and is looking to career switch, 1,000,000 fucking percent without any hesitation in my mind, coding bootcamp is a really intelligent decision to make, because you're making that career switch happen in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. That's what you're looking at. Okay. Now, with that said, here are a couple of things to keep in mind, regardless of whichever track you're going. Okay. So if you're going so just to recap so far, if you want to go a very heavily theoretical track, college might be really good for you. If you want to just be extremely practical and you're looking to get a job and you're a student who has no income right now or low income, and you don't have a parent that's going to invest in it or a family member that's going to invest in it, then for you, go and be self-taught. Okay. Look for resources, network with people, make friends, learn from them. It's going to take you a couple of years, but you're very realistically going to get a job and not have a fucking huge loan. Okay. So get out of that loan and like just learn by yourself. Now, if you're in the category 3, where if you have the money and you can actually, that's income that you can actually invest, you just accelerate your process. Okay. You're going to go from like spending 3 years to like very realistically within 6 to 12 months, have a possible career change. Okay. So that's honestly what I would recommend. And especially if you already have a job and you're looking to make a career switch, I believe that's the fastest way. Now, here's a couple of things I want to say to whichever camp you're in. You have to work it's okay. We're already in. You have to work your fucking ass off. Okay. There's no getting around the actual work. Whether you spend $15,000 in a coding boot camp, or you spend $60,000 in a college degree, or you spend so much time and effort being a self-taught developer, guys, please just drill this in your head. You need to be spending like 5 to 10 hours a day coding. You need to be spending minimum of 20 to 40 hours a week coding, minimum, whichever direction you go. Because here's the thing, unlike buying shoes or buying a cup of coffee, you can't just buy skills. That's something nobody ever teaches us. We're so used to being consumers and just buying things. You're not going to fucking invest 20 to 40 hours a week. 15, I don't care if you spend $300,000 on a coding bootcamp or a college degree, nothing is going to happen. I want you to please get out of that mindset, because that's very dangerous. You can't buy skills. Write that shit down. You cannot buy skills. Skills are earned. And what happens at a college, coding bootcamp, self-taught, whatever, you have mentors, people around you that are guiding you to learn those skills. It is your job to acquire those skills. So whichever way you go, you're looking to spend 20 to 40 hours. The only reason I recommend people invest is you're now exchanging money. Okay? You're giving money to somebody who's already been there. Think of it like a Sherpa on a fucking mountain. Okay. If you want to go to, what are some of those Himalayan mountain? Mount Everest. Okay. If you're going to fucking Mount Everest, if you go alone by yourself, you might actually die. Right. So you pay the Sherpa for his skill, experience, knowledge, take you by the hand up there so you don't die and then know the path. Okay. Because the cost of error there is very, very expensive. Let's take another example. People are like, hey, why can't I just do this self-taught? Like, this sounds great. Like, that sounds amazing to me. Well, think about it like this, okay? It depends your current situation. If you're a college student, nobody's relying on you, you don't have the income, do it self-taught. I think that's fantastic. If you're somebody who has a family, who has people depending on you, if you really are ambitious and you want to do it in a shorter time, there's a lot fucking lying on the line. Now you have to do this quickly. Now you do need the support. Think of it like this, okay? This is the way I explain it. Imagine flying a plane. Would you rather have a textbook with you, or you'd rather have a real pilot right there sitting in the cockpit training you? That's the difference, okay? When you have things on the line and you have dreams on the line and you're very ambitious, the time has a cost. Self-taught, 2, 3, 5 years, you'll get a job. You'll pick up the skills. And then at the job, you'll learn. At a coding bootcamp, what you're doing is you're like, hey, I'm giving the money up front so I can get that same job experience that I would get from senior developers, so they can just train me right here. And then I come out getting a job, so then I cut my time from 3 or 5 years into 6 months. That's all that's happening, okay? So you're exchanging monetary. It's a monetary investment, but you get time back. Everything always has a cost. Even a free thing has a cost. The free thing's cost is time. The thing where you pay money that has a monetary cost, but now you just save time. So you have to start thinking about what's important to you, right? When Warren Buffett probably doesn't go to get his own coffee even sometimes, probably, right? He probably has he pays somebody who gets some coffee. Now he's saving time by exchanging money. So you have to start thinking in different patterns what's right for you. But again, if you're somebody who's looking to switch careers, I think Coding Bootcamp is the way to go. That's it, guys. That's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some freaking value. And if it did, smash that like button. Break that like button, okay? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I love your beautiful face. And here's what I want you to do. Drop it in the comments below. What path is for you, okay? Self-taught, college degree, boot camp, and why. Okay, so for example, if you're a college student or whatever, write self-taught and be like, hey, I'm a college student, helps me save money, and I could just like blah, blah, blah. Great. I'm going to heart it and I'm going to respond to you. If you are the college degree camp, write down, I'm going to college, I'm going to get a college degree. Let me know why. I think that's fantastic. Maybe it gives me some insight into something completely new. And I'm always looking for that. I'm a student. And if you're on the other side where you're like, I want to go to a coding bootcamp, make sure you write coding bootcamp and then tell me what's your reason for wanting to join a coding bootcamp. Okay? I love this fucking community. You guys are so brilliant. You help me and us do what we do every day. Thank you so much. I love your beautiful face, and I'll see you in the next video.